Night section, Crossy.
Hello, Mikel.
Hi.
I was just going to ask you, on the back of what happened in May, was that one of the most disappointing nights that you've had as Arsenal manager? It really seemed to affect the players, but I mean that in a positive way, because some of the setbacks that they had last season seem to have inspired them, given them momentum this season that is maybe helpful.
Well, it was a very difficult day, especially the way the game developed and what actually happened in the game. But obviously, you learn a lot from difficult moments. We certainly did. Whether it is directly attached to a change of behavior, the team performing better, I think there are many factors to that. But hopefully, we have learned some lessons from that day, and we still have something there for Sunday.
Do the players deserve a lot of credit for the lessons that they took on board, from setbacks like that, from defeats like that? Because they feel like they're a really determined, resolute group of students.
I think the players and the staff and everybody at the club deserves a lot of credit for the way they have behaved in difficult moments. And in good moments, everybody wants to be on board. In difficult moments, you see people looking at each other and blaming each other, and it's not been the case. And then credit as well for what they are doing right now, because for the youngest team in this league to be doing what they are doing right now, you have to be doing something special, and that's credit to them.
Okay, well, I know you don't want to talk about the charges or what Antonio Conte said last season or what people have been saying about your behaviour, but do you care about the reputation of you or how your players are perceived and how the team is perceived?
I care a lot about the reputation of the club, especially. Mine I cannot control. I am who I am, and I try to do my best to defend the players, to defend the club, and that comes down with certain people that they won't like it. It's for sure. If everybody would like it, it wouldn't be very good, I think.
But you're obviously a representative of the club and ambassador, so if you care about the reputation of the club, do you not care about how people perceive you and your behaviour? And therefore...
It's not that I don't care, but I care a lot more, especially when I'm doing my job. When I'm sitting at home, I care about what my wife thinks and what people think, but you don't see it. But when I'm in the public, I care a lot. Okay, what can we do? This is the best for the club and the best to defend the players, and this is my role as well.
In the game last season, 3-0, you conceded a sort of soft early penalty, then you went down to 10 men, and the players almost seem to be sort of suckered in by Tottenham and sort of drawn into making fouls. Is that something you'll have to be a bit more sort of canny about this time? Because Tottenham did seem to make a lot of go down quite easily last season.
We can control. There are certain decisions we're not going to be able to control, and that would happen again on Sunday. And I agree that we have to control what we can control, and there are certain things that we can do better.
In the past, when Arsenal had a sort of disappointing result, it was quite often have a hangover and you'd go 2 or 3 games where they wouldn't win. Has that been the biggest difference this season? When I know you haven't had many disappointing results, but when you have, you sort of bounce straight.
Yeah, that's what big teams do. That the next one it's over, and you can draw or lose, and it can be in very different circumstances. You haven't played well, the opponent was better than you. You get wrong decisions. You didn't finalize the action the way you should. Someone make an error, but the next game it has to be over.
That's what happened last season in Newcastle, wasn't it?
And hopefully we have learned, and we will try to do that. But in this league, there is no guarantee, because the next game is going to be competitive, and the next one too. So you have to earn it.
Mikel, have you changed what you say before the big games? Because looking at the way Rob acted that game, he looked like he was almost too pumped up. Have you changed what you've said to them?
Again, I think we prepare every game differently, and certainly I don't direct it to the individuals in a certain way, but the collective messages are always different in relation to what is important to win the game.
And go back to the general thing Dan was talking about, this not necessarily a charge, but do you think perhaps to be a good team you need to have that, and that was what you felt, that maybe they were a bit too nice on the pitch before, and you do sometimes they do need to kind of argue back a little bit?
No, obviously we have to defend ourselves, and we need to leave the game with the passion that the game deserves, that this club deserves, and we need to be competitive, that's for sure, within the law and respecting all the time the opponent and the referees.
Nick?
Okay. I know that you're obviously a team that likes to get on with the game and play football. Looking at a few of the recent games, the ball's not been in play for quite a lot of them, right? If we look at Newcastle, I think it was in play for maybe 50 minutes, maybe just under, something like that. Now, I'm not asking you to comment specifically on what's happened to Arsenal, but do you think there's a bit of an issue in the league in general in terms of letting the game flow and games getting too easily broken up? What could be done about it if there is one?
Well, we have all the data in the world now, so it's clear that the intention is to play as much as possible, and for the show and for the quality of the events, I think is the best thing to do. So I think whoever is in charge of that, they will make the right calls, like we have made other things with the multiple system, for example, to make the game faster and have as much as possible the game flowing.
So you don't think there's an issue in terms of maybe teams that don't like to get on with the game?
There are games that you play more than others, and I think that can easily get modified, and I think that's one of the aims in the game. You've seen in the World Cup what they've done, so it's a really simple thing to do, and if that goes borderline to an area where it's not good for the Premier League, I'm sure that they will get some things done.
Right, into our final split.